Okay. Hi, y'all. I'm Jeff Fargo, and I am in Las Vegas, Nevada. Probably never heard of it. Cool little place, Southern Nevada. People come here and gamble. They used to. Then this little thing called COVID hit, and then people said, "I'm not going there." But then all of a sudden they lifted stuff, and now our stuff is going through the roof. And so we'll talk about that in a second. But this is going to be the first in a series of weekly live webinars to exclusively to lab coat agents. And I'll be interviewing basically the creme de la creme, realtors, lenders, folks that are in the real estate market here. Reason why the focus is on Las Vegas is because really Las Vegas tends to set the pace for the real estate world and for the nation, because we're such a global destination here. So whatever happens here is a good barometer for what's going to be happening around the country. And this week, our guest is my good friend Kolton Villa of Huntington and Ellis. And Kolton's a longtime friend. He is a top producing agent here in Las Vegas. Beyond his stunning good looks, he also is a really, really, really good real estate agent. Kolton Villa, welcome to Rockstars of Las Vegas Real Estate.
How you doing, my friend? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
I'm well. I am well. The pleasure is all mine. And for those of you that are on Lab Coat and following along, feel free to ask questions as we're bouncing around. That's fine. That's what we're here for.
We're working the kinks out, so be easy on us.
Yeah, we're working the kinks out. You're not kidding. We're working the kinks out. Holy moly. So, Kolton, first of all, your background. How long have you lived in Vegas? What got you into this wacky world of real estate and everything else?
It is a crazy, wacky world, that's for sure.
Yes.
I've been in Las Vegas now, 21, 22 years. I'm 30 years old. I think I was 8 years old when my family moved this year. So about 22 years. So I kind of fib a little, call myself a native Las Vegan. But went to school here, went to UNLV here in town. And I've been in real estate now. I just actually hit my 3-year anniversary in March since I actually
Awesome.
became a licensed agent. So that was exciting. I made it through, those initial 1-2 years, bumps in the road that all of us see, and, really trying to figure my path out here in this business.
And what is it that really helped you define that path? Because, there's like 15,000 licensed realtors here, and as anywhere else, it's 95% of them are doing nothing, 5% is doing all the work. And of course, you're one of those 5%. What is it that helped you find that path?
I mean, other than surrounding myself with really good people, great mentors and role models, honestly, you've been a huge part of, whatever kind of success you can say I've had so far.
Thank you.
Helping guide that and, my business along the way. But I think with anybody, it's just your tenacity and your attitude not to give up. It's so easy to throw in the towel when things get hard. And I definitely am not a quitter, maybe to a fault sometimes, but things have been very hard and sometimes the business, but just continuing on the path, and again, surrounding myself with really good people has been probably the most important thing that I can attribute that to.
What do you think is the hardest yet best lesson you've learned in your tenure as a realtor?
Hardest yet best lesson.
Yep.
Not to have expectations, I would say. It doesn't matter who you're dealing with, if it's a client, if it's another agent, a lender,
yeah.
Not to have expectations of that people or that person. You never know, what their current situation is, what they're going through. In the moment that you have an expectation about something, curveballs can be thrown your way, and
yeah.
and they always are, and you'll get rattled. So yeah, going into everything with no expectations has been really important.
That's great. And so my follow-up is, if and when you do get rattled, how do you handle that? I'm sure, for a lot of new realtors that are going to be watching this, picking up the phone, getting told no, getting hammered by people all the time. How do you handle that?
I think you really have to build a foundation, for your overall mindset. So putting in, I guess it's cliche, but working on yourself, putting in the work for your own self-development. Because you're only as strong as your mind. So, if you're in a difficult situation, you're negotiating, or a deal falls out, being able to fall back on your foundational mindset is super important. So every day, I'm working on myself through, journaling or, meditation, exercise, all that kind of stuff builds into creating a stronger mindset. You have to put in the work. There's no easy way around it.
Is it something that you ever just want to say, I've had it, I'm done, I'm pooped, that's it, enough?
I've had those thoughts, but they're fleeting. At the end of the day, what else would I do, right? I'm never going to be able to shut my brain off.
You're wired for it, man. You're just wired for it. What is it that got you in the real estate business?
So I've always been entrepreneurial my whole life. I worked side businesses in high school. I went to college for marketing and business management. I worked for my family's business throughout college. And my family's business was a construction company. And during the, right after the recession, and we were working with a lot of investors flipping houses. I was, in the nitty gritty, breaking my back. I always joke I went from boots to suits, once I actually got into real estate. But I saw all these investors and I thought that they had it all figured out, right? I'm breaking my back. It looks seemingly easy what they're doing. They're the ones making the big. So I started diving into different resources, trying to educate myself on real estate in general. I got myself a Bigger Pocket subscription. I wanted to be the next big house flipper. My wife and I had dreams to be like the next Tarek and Christina on HGTV, right? So that's what we did. I left the family business and we started a flipping company. And here we are all of a sudden as, investors. And, we bought a couple houses, put in all the work ourselves, flipped them, wholesaled some houses. And after a couple years of doing that, I realized I didn't really like that too much. I didn't like being boots on the ground anymore, still doing that back-breaking work. And honestly, I probably wasn't very good at it because I wasn't making any money. So that's when I decided, let me take another approach. And actually, you asked me about if I ever thought about throwing in the towel. It was at that time. And my wife, after a little while doing that and burying ourselves in debt, was like, maybe you should just go get a job. And we actually had our first kid on the way. She was pregnant with our son. Maybe you should just go get a job, something, support everybody, the family, pay the mortgage. That's important. Keep a roof over our heads. And when she said that, I will never forget it because it felt like a dagger was getting, shoved through my stomach. It's like, I'm not able to support my family right now, So I told her, I said, just believe in me. Give me 3 months. Let me see what I can do here. So went on to Groupon, found the cheapest real estate school I could, went and got through school, passed my test. I think it took me 10 days and I was off to the races. And there was no looking back ever since. I just, burned the boats at the shore and real estate.
Off you go.
Off they go. Yep.
I've found, and I'm in the same way as you, family can be a great motivator. I think that getting married helps you grow up, but having children defines you in terms of, are you going to generate revenue or not in this world? And how much of it are you going to generate? Mm-hmm. Because when you have the woman that you love or the partner that you love unconditionally, more than anything in the universe, say to you, hey, it's time for you to step up.
Absolutely.
What else can you do but step up?
You have no other no other option.
None, absolutely none. So my hat is off to you, my friend. Let's switch gears for a second. I want to talk a little bit more, and I want to get granular. My favorite word of all time. My favorite word is granular. I want to talk some more about specifically business going on here in town now. We're a very transient community here in Southern Nevada and Las Vegas. How much of your business for you and your team are you seeing is from out of state?
Honestly, not a lot. Probably about 10 to 15%, and most of that coming through referrals, mainly from other agents or friends and family out of state. We haven't done a lot of marketing to other California. Southern California is our biggest incoming market, obviously, into Vegas. We're getting geared up to start doing some marketing into those areas, but really haven't tapped into that resource yet. But when we do, I want to, put the foot on the gas right away. So getting set up for that. Obviously, we've had this conversation. I believe that wave has already been coming. I think that wave is only going to continue to get bigger as this COVID pandemic continues to play itself out. For the folks that are coming in from out of state, is it predominantly California, or are you and your team seeing people from other states as well? Mainly California. We've had some people from back east, but that's more few and far between. Back east, the northeastern area, I think people from New York are starting to see the benefits of maybe making their way out this way.
A lot of folks. We're seeing now, for those of you that are curious, New York, Ohio, Florida are some of the main East Coast, Midwest feeder states. Also, Illinois is huge of people coming here. I think that have just had it with the snow, and they just want to come here, and it's cheaper to no taxes, and we have no snow here. Is there a specific niche that you've gravitated towards in terms of, as your real estate career now has evolved?
So I work with a lot of seniors, actually. I was, up until this last year, the marketing chairman of the Alzheimer's Association here in town.
Great.
So it obviously gave me a lot of relationships in that industry. We've worked a good amount of probate sales, things like that, which still have those resources, but now, looking to scale things a bit more. So, we're going very, very heavy into online leads and automation processes, things like that. My business, again, I've been just over 3 years now as an agent, has been predominantly referrals, my database, that kind of stuff. To the extent up until last year, is about 80% of my business.
Wow.
Now, as shifted into more online lead gen, that's starting to obviously decrease quite a bit. So it's just maintaining that balance.
What's your feeling on, you're a big digital guy. I'm a big digital guy. Given the challenges of COVID and everything else going on right now, what type of a shift at all have you seen in the digital space for advertising and to be getting your brand, organic or paid, to be getting your brand in front of the, not 1 million people, but more like 1,000 people that will fit with you and your business model perfectly?
It's a hell of a lot cheaper for leads right now. So obviously all the big guys have started dialing way back. So cost per lead is definitely decreased. However, personally, I feel like organically it's harder to get more of a brand presence because everybody's eyes are online, even more so than they were before.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a mixture of an art and a science there, right? So, and we only have about 3 months of data on, these newly, these post-COVID leads.
Exactly.
So we'll see, how they can, convert over time. I have a feeling that it's more, what seems to be more looky-loos, signing up. So cost per lead is cheaper, but what's the cost for conversion going to ultimately be? Not quite sure yet. But we're still seeing some really solid leads and prospects from it.
What how did COVID affect you and your business? Like April, May, were you down? Were you up? Were you the same?
So initially, it was like we had our legs cut out from underneath us. To be honest with you, Las Vegas is obviously a primarily service-based market. A lot of people work in restaurants, casinos, bartenders, things like that. And March 17th, when all that shut down, we lost at least half a dozen escrows in one day, and then more trickled down from that. But I would say over the last month, maybe up to a month and a half, we've really started to see a shift back in the opposite direction. And I would say consumer confidence is definitely regained itself, and buyers that we're working with and sellers that we're working with, if they're making a move right now, there's a reason for it. So usually it's a really strong prospect that we're working with.
So you're seeing a resurgence now. Do you think honestly that California is looking at they're starting to shut stuff down again, and Governor Sisolak here has started. Now we're all wearing. This is how you meet everybody whenever you go out now or sometimes even in a meeting. This is how you're having a meeting with people. How do you see that affecting what you do for better or for worse right now?
I think it's all on how you perceive it. I mean, there's going to be people that sit on the sidelines scared, and there's going to be people that are just continuing to do business and capture all of that market share from the other people that aren't doing anything. So I definitely don't plan on being that person. So I'm confident that us as a group will be able to grow and scale quite a bit right now, because we're not sitting on the sideline, because we're focusing on providing high level of service and care, just like we always would, but being very, very hyper focused on what the end goal in mind is.
So that's a really novel idea. It's have a plan and stick to it.
Funny how that works,
right? It's just and I agree with you 100%. And this is a conversation we've had offline for years. Is that if you have a good plan and you don't deviate from it, and you stick to it, and you keep doing it over and over and over and over and over again, and tweak the stuff that needs to be worked on, you become bulletproof. Especially in this business, you just become Teflon. And a global pandemic can get thrown at you, and you're still fine.
Right. Exactly.
You're still okay. Excuse me. So, all right. Now I've got some really, really important questions to ask you. So get ready.
Let's hear it.
If Kolton Villa today could go back in time and visit and spend time with an 18-year-old Kolton Villa, what would the Kolton Villa of today, what type of advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
It's a good one. I'd say find a mentor and add value. Find a mentor and add value.
That's great.
It took me a while to really understand that in order to get to a point in my life where I want to be, I have to find somebody that's already there and then start to model what they've done. Doesn't mean I have to do the exact same thing, but they already have gone through all those bumps in the road. And then being able to add value to that person in exchange for that mentorship and guidance. So, maybe I was 24, 25 when I really started to kind of understand that. And it took me a couple more years to actually figure that out. But like I said earlier in the conversation, I'm fortunate enough to have some really good mentors in my life now that I can, that I'm learning a lot from. So
awesome.
Really grateful about that.
That's awesome. And that is true that, and Lab Coat Agents is a personification of what you're saying. I tell every agent I meet with that in real estate, it's like Star Wars. There's the good side of the force and there's the dark side of the force. And, and LCA is really the good side of the force. And that's you as well. It's just very collaborative, willing to teach, willing to learn, and humble yourself, to anybody, as long as they're putting out good vibes, it's reciprocated, 100-fold.
No room for you.
None. And Lord knows, we all think highly of ourselves, but there's no room for ego. There's a big difference between there's confidence and ego, and there's a big difference between that. And some people, sometimes get those clouded, especially in our world, and especially here in Vegas, where for those of you that don't live here in Vegas, all the people that were driving really nice cars and saying that they were doing this and taking pictures here and Instagramming here are all of a sudden, their job description on LinkedIn is now assistant sales manager at Foot Locker or night manager at Kohl's. And so, it's like, come on, folks, just be real and put it out there and you'll be fine. If you could be anything besides a real estate agent, what would you do? Who would you be?
Probably, be running a nonprofit of some sort. I really like contributing, giving back. Obviously I talked about, my time with Alzheimer's Association, as the marketing chairman there for a handful of years, and being able to give back, specifically animals and children, are two big things, and seniors as well. But those are two really big things to me. So, I think so last year I had this huge goal in mind to donate, a large amount of money back into some organizations I support. And, thankfully I was blessed enough to donate about a little over $30,000, which,
that's awesome.
Very
Congratulations.
proud to hit my goal, but
that's great.
But I was watching a documentary about Andrew Carnegie, and he had a saying: spend the first third of your life learning how to make money, the second third of your life making the money, and the last third giving it all away.
Yeah.
So really that's kind of like what my mindset is now. It's like, make money for the greater good, right? And I would love to have some sort of cause that I'm able to kind of spearhead sometime, in the future.
That's awesome. And how old are you?
30.
Yeah. You've got your shit together more than most 50-year-olds, because you're talking to one, and you just gave me an idea. So it's like,
hopefully I'm not quite a third of the way through my life yet.
Yeah. Hopefully you're not. Hopefully you're not. I would say no, you're fine. Because and also for those that don't know, where can people contact you? Like Instagram, Facebook, where's the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
Yeah, either Instagram, Facebook, Kolton_Villa is my Instagram name. So that's KOLTON and then VILLA, just like Poncho Villa.
Except you don't have like the bullets going across your chest and all that stuff.
Not at work, but as soon as I get home.
That's at home.
That's
my date night
costume.
That's like date night stuff. Good for you. That's awesome. One final question, and this is extremely important, and this is something I learned on cable TV. There used to be a show called the Actors Studio, with a guy named James Lipton was the host, and he would bring on actors, and he had this big stack of blue cards, and he would go through, and he was great. And he just passed away a couple of years ago. And the one question he asked so I'm crediting him to this. So for those of you that are like, what are you doing? James Lipton said that. Well, suck off. I'm crediting him right now. What's your favorite word?
That to be PG?
No, whatever you want.
I would say confidence is my favorite word. I think everything starts with a sense of confidence. You said it, confidence versus ego before. Yep. I think I probably used to be on the far side of ego, and now, really being able to center myself in that regard. But confidence is important in anything you do in life. Confident that your business plan is going to work, confident you're going to close the deal, confidence you're going to get the girl, whatever that is. I think confidence goes a very, very long way.
Agreed. I agree. Excellent, my friend. Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you for being my first guest on the Rockstars of Las Vegas Real Estate. We'll be back next week with another guest who is going to be a surprise, but you'll be thoroughly enjoying that person. And that person has giant shoes to fill coming in after this great conversation. So thank you, my friend. As always, continued success.
Thanks, man. Take care, all right?
Take care. Bye-bye.